What's going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a special video. Today I'm going to be doing a Q&A celebrating 10 years here on YouTube. I don't think I've done one of these since I hit 18,000 subscribers back around 3 years ago, I want to say. So it feels good to be back answering your guys' questions, especially celebrating such a very special milestone on this channel. I've been around for a decade now. I created this channel on February 24th, 2014. Here it is, February 28th, 2024, which is just insane. I said it before, where does the time go? I have no idea. It does not feel like it has been 10 years. I think technically I didn't upload my first video until May or April of 2014, but the channel was created on February 24th, 2014, so officially 10 years and 4 days old as I'm recording this. And conveniently, my birthday was actually yesterday as I'm recording this, so just 3 days before my birthday, I guess my channel has its birthday as well. So been a huge part of my life. This channel has for almost half of my life. I'm 26. The channel's been going for 10 years, so a decent chunk of my life has been put into this channel, and I've loved every second of it. Through the peaks and through the valleys, I've loved it. It's been such an experience, so many amazing opportunities afforded to me through this channel, all thanks to you guys, the supporters of this channel through and through, whether you've been here for a long time or not. Still really appreciate you guys being here. All right, so the first question we have here comes from Montgomery Har 30, who asks, you have some gnarly albums up in the background and merch. Spite, Body Snatcher, Acacia Strain, what's your favorite record or merch on your wall? So that's a great question, and for those who could not tell, I am a bit of a metalhead. I love heavy metal music and music similar to that. Although today we are rocking the bird merch. Support your local birds. Always remember to do that. But yeah, so Spite, Body Snatcher, Acacia Strain, those are some bands that he mentioned that are some of my favorite bands. I do like those bands quite a bit. My favorite metal band of all time, for those wondering, is the Acacia Strain. If you haven't listened to them, definitely check them out. But what's my favorite record or merch on your wall? And he's talking specifically about this wall back here. I had this put in myself way back when I was first basically decorating everything in here in the studio. I wanted to have it because vinyl records, collecting vinyl records, is a hobby of mine that started back in about 2017. I like the collecting aspect of it, which you might not be surprised because, I like collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon cards as a kid, so in general I just like collecting a lot of things, especially things that are aesthetically as pleasing as vinyl records are. And it's also just an amazing way to listen to music. That's why I have a turntable down here, because occasionally I like to just throw on a record and sit back and really enjoy it. It's just such an amazing way to listen to music and collect music, because again, you own a physical copy of it. The artwork's blown up really big. All the details and stuff that go into it, the lyric sheets, all these sort of unique things that you don't get with streaming digital music. And obviously digital music has its benefits. It's extremely convenient to be able to listen to wherever you want, on your phone, on the go, anywhere. But there is something I find really special and that I appreciate very much about vinyl music. So choosing my favorite record is not very easy. I guess I'll do it two ways, because I have a lot of video game soundtrack music. I've got Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Undertale, Doom, Bloodborne. I've got all of those. And I've got countless records, vintage and newer, from some older bands and some newer bands. So yeah, like I said, choosing which ones are my favorite is definitely not easy. It's kind of like asking me what my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card is. It's going to take me a very long time to give you an answer. But as far as video game soundtracks and OSTs go, I would say this one, this Doom soundtrack here, is by far my all-time favorite. Listening to this type of music is so fun, especially on vinyl. The sound quality is incredible, and it's just intense and punchy, and it's just amazing. I mean, that's just what Doom music is in general. Not only that, of course, the game is incredible, but my favorite, like, band related, piece of music I have is this record right here. This is Korn's self-titled album back from 1994. This thing sounds amazing, and I just feel lucky to own it. It's an incredible piece of music. One of my favorite songs of all time on here is called Chutes and Ladders. Love that song a lot. But yeah, very, very cool band back from the 90s. I mean, they're still around today, but that's definitely my favorite piece that I usually have on the wall, because I cycle the records in and out. So hopefully that answers your question. If you have a follow-up to it, feel free to put it down in the comment section below here on this video. All right, so the next question comes from the Semi-Limited podcast. Shout outs to them. Actually, I've done, I think, 2 podcasts with them so far. I think maybe 2 or 3. But if you guys haven't checked out their podcast, definitely check them out. But they ask, for those who also strive to make a presence for themselves in the YouTube space, what is something that you tell yourself every time you hit a wall, become frustrated, or even think about giving up in order for you to keep going? I know some people feel like that often, but I think hearing these types of answers will keep the motivation going. So proud of you and all the things you've accomplished. Don't stop now. So thank you for the question. Appreciate that. It's a very good question. I definitely can relate a lot to this because, every time you hit a wall, I mean, I feel like I've hit a wall currently, in terms of creative burnout. The channel feels like it's been kind of stuck in a standstill, and myself creatively in terms of making YouTube content around Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I think I talked about in a community post like a week or so ago. I mean, I usually tell myself, no matter how bad it seems, I know I'll be able to figure something out. It's never really as dire as I often make things out to be. I tend to be a little over dramatic sometimes with myself and overthink things, but I tend to tell myself that I can figure things out. And sometimes you also have to understand that, like, when you do hit a wall, you kind of, for the most part, you're usually on the verge of some kind of breakthrough, which is some advice I've been told recently when it came to being in a rut creatively in terms of like my photography and stuff. Another photographer I follow and I talk to regularly, usually when you do experience burnout and you do hit a rut, usually that means you're probably on the verge of some kind of breakthrough, figuring something out. And usually when you do hit that wall, it's obviously a good sign to take a break and take a step back, kind of reorganize and reevaluate, which is also what I'm kind of in the process of doing, kind of just focusing on one video at a time and take it from there, and just branch out and do something different. Like the locals feature matches and the locals POVs, I'm going to be taking a break on those because I've been coasting on them, honestly. That's what I've been doing, and I want to stop that. I want to get off that dependency and just do something different, even if that means I'm not uploading every day. That is not the thing that is important to me anymore, because it obviously hasn't been working. You also have to understand that motivation is temporary. That's something I've learned over the years, in terms of exercising, because I've worked out for a long time, gone to the gym for a long time. And you got to understand that, and like it comes to all disciplines, that motivation is temporary and will fade. You have to find something outside of just motivation and hype to keep you into something. You have to have some other way that you're tethered to that particular thing. And if it's not there, it's going to be hard to constantly stay on something and grind, right? So hopefully that answers your question. Appreciate the question, by the way. Thanks for leaving it here on the Q&A. Next up, we've got ChrisMans6632 asking, well, first of all, saying congrats on the 10 years. Thank you very much. The content has been really good. Thank you very much. What is your favorite retro format? I think we had a couple comments maybe asking this, but I'll just ask it here. If there were other repeats, I'll throw it in alongside this one. My favorite retro format, I mean, I'm kind of biased. I've really only ever played one retro format, and that is 2015 NAWCQ format. That is my favorite. It's also the only one that I've ever played, and it's the only ever one I've really cared to play, just because it's very nostalgic to me. I was probably back into Yu-Gi-Oh! For maybe a year, not even at that point when that format was a thing, maybe just a little over a year. And it just takes me back. It's such fond memories. Who I was playing the game with at that point, where I was playing it at, just kind of the attitude and everything around the game and all that stuff. It's just Very good form. I still have my Infernoid deck, my Lightsworn Infernoid deck built, actually, because me and a few friends, we haven't played it in a long time, but, you know, we used to play it quite a bit. And I actually did play in one Time Wizard format at locals with that deck, and it was fun to do. So yeah, thank you for the question, Chris Mans. Appreciate it. Moving on, we've got Jack Lee 777, who asked, "What is my favorite water deck? Still play the old school Meral and Atlanteans. Very behind now with the new water." So I mean, favorite water deck. I mean, there really aren't that many water decks that I have played. There's probably 2, technically maybe 3 if you want to count Rika, because that is a water-based deck. They are all water monsters. But the other engines are not water. So, I mean, it's really just Marincess and Mermail. I honestly would have to put Marincess a little bit higher, just because the deck can do more. And, I don't know, that deck's very resource efficient. That's why I like it a lot. It's a satisfying deck to play. Not to say that Mermail isn't, and not to say that I don't like playing Mermail, but I would have to put Marincess a little bit higher. Aesthetically, Mermail's a way cooler deck, but Marincess is better. It's very resource efficient. It's satisfying to play. A lot of one-card combos. Very, very cool deck. So I'd probably have to say Marincess is my favorite water deck. But if you're counting Rika, maybe Rika's higher than that. But maybe it's only if you play it pure. But either way. Plusquam, perfect, which is, I see you commenting quite a bit. And they ask, first they say, well, congrats. Thank you very much. Hope you reach all the goals you have with the channel. Thank you very much. I hope so as well. What's my top 5 favorite decks of all time? I'm sure there might be a lot of comments around this this question, you know, top 5 favorite decks. This is a very tough question. In no particular order, I would have to say Block Dragon BA, Speedroid, Rickus and Avalon. This is always tough. Photon Galaxy is definitely up there. And Earth Machine. Maybe those 5. And I could take more time to think about it. There's like honorable mentions to Sword Soul. Honorable mentions to Mech Knight. That's a tough question, but if I had to say right off the rip, Speedroid, and that goes for Speedroid Cash, Pure Speedroid, that's all included under one. Ricochet Avalon, Photon Galaxy, Earth Machine, and I forget which other one I said, but Earth Machine, Rika, Block Dragon BA, Photon Galaxy, Speedroid. Yeah, those 5. In no particular order. I think those are definitely among the top. So thank you for the question. Next up, we got 719TCG, who asked, congratulations. Well, they say congratulations. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. They've got a couple questions here, really kind of bunched into one. First, they ask, how is your photography going? And are you ever going to bring back the intros you used to do with the sick edits and transitions? You're a sick videographer. Keep it up. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate all that. How is my photography going? I mean, it's going pretty good. You know, I've been selling my work, which is obviously one of the big milestones, I guess, that any artist really could reach, is being able to sell your work. I'm currently writing a book. That's another big project that I have going. The website is up and running, has been for a long time. I've been slowly building a following around my photography, which I really like. I'm proud of what I've been able to do so far in the past year, and kind of making a name for myself in the space here in Western New York. And I've also had one of my photos featured in a local gallery. So that's also a big milestone and personal achievement for myself. Very, very proud of that. So thank you for asking. And are you ever going to bring back the intros you used to do with sick edits and transitions? Probably not, only because it just adds an unnecessary amount of time and production to a simple deck profile video. I do try to add in certain little flares when I can, like short little bits that I film that transition you from the monsters to the spells, or the main deck to the extra deck, and then extra deck to the side deck, sort of little things like that I've done in the past. It really just depends on how I'm feeling and how much time I have, how ambitious I'm feeling really to make those types of videos. But sometimes I just like keeping it simple, plain, and to the point, although I do understand that if I do add that little flair, it kind of gives it its own little unique signature from myself. So maybe I'll include them more. Let me know what you guys think, if that's something you want to see more of. But thank you for the questions, much appreciated. Next up, we have PDG Crusher 7100 asking, is there anything in your YouTube / photography career that you would do differently? That's kind of a big question. Anything in my YouTube career that I would do differently? That is a tough question to think about. I mean, because everything that I've done up until this point has worked for the most part. I mean, maybe there's some types of videos and series maybe that I wish I would have continued on a bit more, or maybe done a little bit less of, you know, maybe like the podcast and other things of that nature. But I guess also one thing that I wish I would do differently, or that I am going to do differently, is just change how I approach how I feel I need to post to the channel, if that makes any sense. Yeah. My photography career, that is a whole other can of worms. One thing I wish I would do differently is try this, I don't know, it's weird. Try and find new places to photograph, because oftentimes I do get kind of roped into photographing the same places, although they have a lot to see and a lot of things that I have not gone to visit yet in some of these places, like Letchworth State Park, Allegheny State Park. Very, very big, vast places that have lots to see within them. I wish I dedicated a little bit more time to planning and visiting other areas, and just, I guess, doing more planning in general instead of being so sporadic, spur of the moment when it comes to going out and taking photos, right? Actually planning things ahead of time. Because I do tend to rush and be last minute a lot. It's just kind of my nature. I tend to procrastinate a lot. But, you know, we work to improve on that every day. Thank you for the question. Next up, Daniel Smith asks, Daniel Smith 1323 asks, what is it about more rogue strategies that appeals to you as shown in your deck choices over things that are meta? I just really like the idea of being able to go to a tournament and win with something that people don't expect to see. There's just something about that feeling. Because, like, if somebody goes to a tournament and wins with Snake Eye Fire King, you're not going to be surprised by that. You're like, yeah, I expect that to happen. It's the best deck in the game. It's one of the best decks of all time, maybe. Maybe top 10 at least, right? Or top 20. Not going to get into the specifics. But if somebody wins a regional with Speedroid or Photon Galaxy, you know, it's a lot more interesting. It's a lot more appealing. Like, I want to be the guy that does that. You know what I mean? Or at least maybe helps people to do that. That's what I want. I want to be able to do well with unique strategies that catch people off guard. That, you know, you have to put a lot of time and effort into them to, like, see results out of that. I don't know. It's just, that's why, I guess. Hopefully that answers your question. Moving on, we have Shaman 5 Usk. I probably butchered that. Either way, congratulations on 10 years, they say. Thank you very much. Been here for about 2 years of that now, and it feels as if time flew by. Yes, it absolutely does. As for a question, thoughts on other variants of Kashtira, and do any of them interest you? I know you got them specifically for Speedroid, however, the deck is also a great engine for other decks like Raid Raptor, Punk, Virtual World, and even Mermail, Fenrir, Search Tier Cache, Normal Diva, Summon Prince, make Barone with the 3, Tier Cache as level 7, Water for Gaios. But Tier Cache needs to banish a Tier Element or a Cache, right? I'm pretty sure it does. Hold on, I need to look up Tier Cache now. Now you're making me look up Tier Cache on DB. Because I need to see the summoning conditions to see if what you're saying is actually True. During the main phase, quick Viking special on this card from your hand, and if you do, banish one Kashira or Tier 1's card from your hand or graveyard. I mean, I guess, yeah, you could make Baron if you synchroed with the Diva and the Prince and all that stuff, and then Fenrir, right? And then Tier Cash banish to summon by banishing the Fenrir. Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, alright. Yeah, that is actually pretty cool. That is actually pretty... Level 7 Water for Gaios. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I really haven't thought about any other variants to Kashira. I strictly only got it, again, for Speedroid, as you mentioned. Never was interested in playing the deck pure back when it was at full power. Never thought about using it in Raid Raptor. I've played it in Punk, but it was mainly just Fenrir's. Never bothered with Virtual World. But the Mermail thing, like, that sounds cool, because I love Mermail. So I will definitely give that a try. Thank you for the advice. Appreciate the suggestions and the comment. Caesar Solano 9572, they asked, how's your photography going? It's going great, as I already had mentioned. Probably gonna get some duplicate questions, but that's all right. Yeah, thank you for asking. It's been going very well. Been going to a lot of places, going on a lot of trips, seeing a lot of amazing things, and having a ton of fun. Pursuing something that I'm very, very passionate about. As a photographer, as an artist, all this stuff. It's been very fulfilling. It's been a lot of fun. Next we have Sagittario 42. How to properly test hands. How to probably do test hands with your deck for local tournaments, local level tournaments. I've been using solo mode on Dueling Book and I still can't wrap my head around Resonator or Crystal Beast. It's easy to look at how to play videos, but that is only training wheels and do very little for an actual duel. So the best way to learn your deck like that is just to play at locals, right? You can only learn so much from test hands. You can only solitaire, just play out certain hands, and just see where they take you uninterrupted. I mean, you could do, I know some people do things where, like, they do a test hand and every time they do something that the opponent can interact with, they flip a coin or roll a dice, and based on the result is what type of interruption that the opponent will have, right? You could do that, but nothing will beat, the real McCoy, right? Getting into an actual duel and playing the deck and learning from the mistakes you make in the moment, right? Because that's when true duelists are made, in the moment, in the middle of the match. So hopefully that suggestion helps out. Out of all the decks you played, which one was the hardest to understand and play? And that's from Mako Sen 8911, and somebody underneath it, Madden Mike 49994, asked, I'm going to guess Infernoble. And yeah, you'd probably be right. Infernoble is definitely up there as one of the hardest decks I've ever had to learn. Synchro Fusionist is up there, and so is Block Dragon BA, is some very extremely non-linear combo decks. So those are the definitely three that I'd mentioned. Infernoble, Synchro Fusionist, and Block Dragon BA at the very top of some of the most difficult decks I have ever piloted. Next up, we have Tau 10295. Congrats on 10 years. Thank you very much. Would you still play Speed Cash if Fenrir gets limited, or would you still find a way? Would you still play Speed Cash if Fenrir gets limited, or would you still find a way? Also, what do you think Speedroid needs in the future? If Fenrir got limited, I would probably still play Speed Cash with the one Fenrir, the Scareclaw Cash, the 3 Unicorns, the Terraforming, the Bright Sauce. I'd still do that, 100%. The deck would definitely be no doubtedly a lot weaker, but usually your best combos start with Unicorn for the most part. There's other cards you could substitute in, like Ascended to Thunder. Not that they're the best solutions, but they are solutions nonetheless. And what do I think Speedroid needs in the future? Well, first and foremost, it needs Auroradon back, 100%. It needs Terror Top back to 3. We need good... The deck just needs better Synchro support. The level 6 and 7 Synchro pool for wins is extremely lackluster. I hate how they keep coming out with good boss monsters. Like, for example, Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Sick boss monster. Incredible card. They just had to make it so hard to summon. A tuner Synchro and a non-tuner Synchro monster, like, that's just ridiculous. A non-tuner Synchro Clearwing monster. It's a little ridiculous. And then you got this card here, the Clearwing Rider, which, don't get me wrong, I love that card, but it's a little bit harder to get into as well. You just need more accessible, better boss monsters, a better diverse Synchro pool. And I honestly think that's about it. Like, of course, the deck could always use more starters too. Ones that aren't terrible, like Win, the Wind Channeler, and Speedroid Scratch. Those are awful starters that make you go minus and play into Droll so hard. Just better extenders, better starters. More so better starters if I had to narrow it down. Auroradon back and some better Wind Synchros to work with because that pool is obviously very limited as you would expect. YGO Dave asks, yo, which deck was your favorite to play and why was it Speedroid, of course? I mean, unironically, Speedroid is up there in general as probably one of my favorite decks of all time. It's at the very top. So thank you for the question. Isaac Abril 9603. First of all, thanks for the content and all the effort. Thank you very much. What's your favorite card and the story behind that card? That's a tough question. I could spend a lot of time thinking about that. I could really spend a lot of time. I mean, I have favorite cards. Like Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier is one of my favorites. Not necessarily because of the story, but just the card itself. The history behind it. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. That's another one. Yatagarasu. Mainly because these cards are very nostalgic from way back in the day when I first started playing. But story behind it, it would probably be something from like the Necroz, Infernoid, Tellarknight, Shaddoll era, because I was really fascinated with those cards and how they all intermingled with one another. So I think something in that area for sure. But specific card, I really can't think of anything right off the bat. But thank you for your question. Hopefully I answered it, as best as I could. Dalen Pitkin, the DB Lurker, asks, when are you doing Earthbound Immortal 1 deck 1 month? That's a hilarious question. That's the funniest question I've gotten all day so far. But if I had to say, it'd be A, never, and B, if the community votes for it when we start up the next 1 deck 1 month, then that is when I will do it. If they don't vote for it, I could not tell you. I could not tell you when it's going to happen. Although I know Josh Schmidt has been making some moves with the deck in the past with runic cards, so doesn't seem that bad, right? Next up, Mudkips873 says, congrats, man. Took your Rika deck list to locals a couple months ago with really good results. Hell yeah. Congratulations, man. Appreciate you being confident enough in my deck building abilities to take the deck to locals and do well with it. You also ask, ever try branching off into other card games? I'm competitive, but not devoted to the meta in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that gives me the autonomy to try other card games. Maybe something to think about. I mean, with me being as dedicated as I am to Yu-Gi-Oh! And with the channel and the content creation around it, no, I typically don't branch off into other card games. The most I've ever done was I dabbled a little bit into some casual Pokemon play a few years back. Played back in like 2017. I kind of dipped into Pokemon 2 times. One in 2017, I played Greninja Break, and then a few years later, I played ADP. And if you play Pokemon, you know what I'm talking about. It's an ADP deck, Whale Lord, and I think that's really about it. It's a fun game, but I definitely prefer Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot more. So hopefully that answers your question, and thanks for leaving one. Flametez12, congratulations on the 10 years, thank you. Do you have a favorite video you've made on the channel? Favorite video on the channel. There are just so many videos on my channel that it's hard for me to think about all of them. I literally have 2.3 thousand videos on my channel. And to sit and think about which one is my all-time favorite, that is a tough choice. One video off the top of my head that sticks out would definitely be the video I made surrounding the Dark Magician of Chaos card that I pulled on video out of Dark Revelation 2. The whole story behind that and the video that I put together, kind of like a mini documentary, that is probably one of my favorite videos that I've gotten to work on, just because I got to bring a lot of different things to the table. It wasn't like a standard video that I had been making. It wasn't a deck profile. It wasn't a dual video. It wasn't any of this stuff. It was something completely different. Yeah, and it just felt really fun documenting a really exciting part of just my Yu-Gi-Oh! Career. Some of the vlogs that I've done, I guess, like I did one for YCS Hartford. That was really fun. Maybe some one-off locals vlogs that have been really fun. The reunion video we did for the lab at locals, that was also really fun. The video I did with Aerosol that I released on Christmas of 2021, that video was super fun. Definitely one of my favorite videos. Shout out to Aerosol. So there's definitely some of my favorites. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few, but those are definitely the ones that just come to mind right off the rip. Next up, we got a question from Saturn2119, longtime friend of mine. In fact, we pretty much started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Around the same time in 2014, so we've both been in it for about 10 years. It says, I've got two for you. One, least favorite deck and why? Oh, man, there's so many choices to choose from. I mean, least favorite decks that I've played in recent memory, because I've played a lot of decks over the years, but least favorite, man, I honestly, maybe Gold Pride Punk, just because it's a frustrating deck to play, because it's not the greatest, and it's like on the verge of just being that much better. So maybe that, but least favorite deck to play against over the years, Tearlament Full Power comes to mind. That deck was just a pure headache in a stack of cards, a migraine in a stack of cards. That was infuriating. Before that, another deck I know I hated playing in the past was True Draco. Super Stun deck. That was infuriating. Fluanderees, definitely up there. Every time I sit down to play it, I'm pretty sure my blood pressure raises a couple points. Favorite moment in your Yu-Gi-Oh! / YouTube career that doesn't necessarily involve Yu-Gi-Oh! That's a good question. That is a good question. Favorite moment in my Yu-Gi-Oh! / YouTube career that doesn't necessarily involve Yu-Gi-Oh! One of them would definitely be getting this studio, having this built. Definitely a big milestone, just for doing what I love. Being a huge representation of that, a culmination of that. Without this channel, this wouldn't exist. It's definitely one of my happy places, if you will. I mean, so many countless hours of hanging out with friends that I also would not have ever met, or have been in the presence of, had it not been for Yu-Gi-Oh! All those goofy moments and shenanigans spent at card shops, at friends' houses, late into the night playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, complaining about cards, laughing about things, all that stuff. Definitely some of them, for sure. Getting to travel for Yu-Gi-Oh! Related stuff. That's definitely one of them. But there's probably other things too that I can't necessarily think of just right off the dome, but those ones I mentioned are definitely some of my favorite moments for sure. I mean, hitting 10,000 subscribers was a huge milestone, just because the kid in me was like, oh my god, this is a dream come true, getting a YouTube channel over 10,000 subscribers. Like, that was a big moment for me. Absolutely. Getting a VIP status at a tournament, that was also huge, even though I completely blew it. It is what it is. That was still an absolute favorite moment of all time. But I think memories and moments with friends along the way is definitely up there at the top. So thank you for the comments. So happy to have been here for 10 years and see you grow and flourish in all aspects. Much love to the one and only. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Moving on, we have Abdullah Habdi 1300. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. I really apologize. What inspired you to become a YouTuber? It was just like, I spent a lot of time growing up, like in high school, I guess also in middle school, watching a lot of content creators on YouTube and Twitch, and just the lifestyle and I don't really know what the culture around it, I guess. I don't know. That's just something I wanted myself. I wanted to be somebody that was able to build a thriving business and community around doing something that I truly loved doing, which is a privilege in of its own, and it's not something that many people get to do. So that's definitely one thing that definitely inspired me. One particular content creator would be like Lobos Jr. They're a content creator on Twitch and YouTube, and they basically got started with playing Dark Souls and games similar to that. And it's just something they started doing with friends that was fun, and it turned into a long-term, very successful career for them. And just seeing that and seeing them branch out from that, how they've grown, it's always been a big inspiration for me. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to become a YouTuber, and I just ended up being in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Content creation space. Next up, we have Pure White Lover Bizarre Jelly. They say, your Atlantean Mermail deck showcases got me back into Yu-Gi-Oh! After 10 years. I consider it a personal favor. If you'd update the profile later this year when the deck finally gets new support, I will absolutely be doing that, and I'm so happy to hear I was able to bring you back into the game, playing one of my favorite decks of all time. So yeah, we definitely will be doing an update once the Legacy of Destruction drops with that new Fishborg card in there. So thank you for the comment, thank you for the support, and thank you for being here as long as you have been. Next up, we've got 777 El Zorro. So glad I stumbled upon your channel during that one deck 1 month with Sword Soul. Not only do I learn a lot, but for some reason just makes me sit back and relax. Hope the videos keep coming, even though the Snake Eyes format can make it feel kind of meh. Well, I'm super glad to hear that you enjoy the one deck 1 month series that much. It definitely means a lot for me to hear things like that, because sometimes I have a tendency to doubt myself, be a little bit of, I don't know, a little harsh on myself. You know, they say you're your own worst critic. That's definitely true with me. But it's great to hear that you like the one deck 1 month, not only from just, you know, a watch and learn standpoint, but just something to put on and kick back and relax to. So I really appreciate that. I'm glad it gives off that kind of vibe as well. So thank you for the support on that. And yeah, the videos will keep coming, but we're taking a different approach about it again, like I said. And thank you for the support, and thank you for the comment, or the question rather. Next up, Wayfarer Guy asks, sorry for double dipping with questions, lol. Well, yeah, I see the other question down there. What was your best or favorite tournament win ever in Yu-Gi-Oh? Also, you make the best Yu-Gi-Oh content. We appreciate it. That is very kind of you to say. I don't think it's true, but I appreciate it nonetheless. What was my favorite tournament win ever in Yu-Gi-Oh? There's probably two answers I have to that. I remember a long time ago, and this one that just comes to mind, right? And I'm not sure why it does. Maybe there's other ones as well that I have to take more time to think about. But I remember one time, a long time ago, I was playing Malefic. Malefic, like a stun Malefic deck. And I remember I took it to Locals way back in the day, and one of the people at Locals, I could never beat him, right? It felt like no matter what I was playing at the time, I could just never beat them. And I remember one week I showed up with this Malefic deck, and I was beating everybody. I played them in the final round, and I finally beat them with the deck. And it just felt so good. Even though I did it in kind of like a cheesy way with Skill Drain and Necro Valley, I still loved every second of winning with that deck, because it was a stupid deck that I just put together myself. I just threw it together. Of course, I took some ideas from the old YouTube Yu-Gi-Oh community back then, telling me to play cards like, what was this, like level 8 monster that could be normal summon without tributing, but its attack and defense is halved. Beast King Barbaros. I think that was the card. Like playing that card in there, your normal summon, flip Skill Drain up, now it's at 3k, right? Or Fusler. Armed Dragon Fusler was another card. All the Malefic monsters in general, like Cyber End and Rainbow Dragon, were some of the better ones to play. And then, I think in recent memory, favorite tournament win was the VIP win that I had, you know, for YCS Niagara Falls. Although it didn't feel that great, because there was only like 17 people that showed up to that, and I ended up playing a guy from Locals in the finals. But that felt good regardless. You know, you got to celebrate where you can. I've won a few Locals mega tournaments. You know, those have felt good, but I think probably the VIP tournament is probably like my biggest, like, officially sanctioned Konami win. I've won a couple box tournaments back in the day with Meral. Those were really satisfying. I remember I won them back to back, actually. And at the time, that was very fun to have that under my belt, I guess, as somebody was still kind of up and coming. But we're still getting there, I think, to what will be my absolute favorite, maybe topping a regional or winning a regional, topping a YCS maybe someday. But yeah, thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. And you also asked, is photography and YouTube your only occupations, or do you have other jobs? Those are my only occupations currently, and that's why all your guys' support here means so incredible, so much to me, I guess. It's very incredible. It means a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. Word vomit there. Next up, Ty CQ4K asks, have you ever thought about quitting Yu-Gi-Oh? Yes, I have, definitely. But it's not time yet. It's not time. What would it take for Mermail to become competitive again? A miracle. I discovered your channel with your Mermail vids years ago, and I've been a big fan of you since then. Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you for being around for as long as you have. But I mean, in all honesty, for Mermail to come back and be competitive again, it would need some extremely unfair mechanic that only it would be able to abuse. Like water barrier, statue lock, consistent one-card combo, hand trap resistant type thing. But then even then, is it Mermail? Like, the Mermail archetype in of itself is not so unfair that I don't think it would ever be competitive again. It would need a miracle, and I mean that in every sense of the word. It pains me to say that, but, you know, it's not 2013 anymore, when the deck was, like, in its absolute prime. But next up, we have Mace8705. Do you have a favorite Yu-Gi-Oh format or nah? I've got a couple favorites. One that sticks out is Sword Soul Despia format. Back in, like, Post-Dimension Force. I think that is the name of the set. When Therian Regulus was introduced, it was Hartford. That format I really loved just because I had it down pat. I really enjoyed it a lot. Like, a lot. It was just, I was so in tune with the game then. I understood the matchups very well. I was having a ton of fun playing Sword Soul. And then I think before that, the format before that, when I was playing Speedroid with Auroradon, when Sword Soul was still very popular, Despia was still in its earlier stages. I think that format I also loved. Those were kind of like two back-to-back formats. The Toss format I liked a lot, only because I was playing Block Dragon BA around then. Sort of like the tail end of it, I guess, when Striker Orcus was more popular. That format I loved quite a bit. The 2015 NAWCQ format with Infernoid, Burning Abyss, Necros, love that. I think those are probably some of the ones that come to mind right off the bat. Next up, Team Critical Hit asks, do you happen to be a partaker in Shacktivities? Yes. Yes, I am. Hashtag Last Shack. And last but not least, I'm going to refresh here, see if there's any more comments. I don't think there is, so this is definitely going to be the last comment. Drip TCG says, why do you play rogue decks? You seem like you'd be able to do well piling a meta deck. So I think we already answered something similar to this. I just like the swagger and the sauce that comes with playing rogue decks and winning with them. Definitely feels a lot more satisfying, in my opinion, although I've played meta decks in the past, like Necros, Sword Soul, Orcus, back, like, Nightmare Orcus, back when, like, Mermaid was legal. I played that. Like, I've definitely I played Drytron. I played my fair share of meta decks in the past, but playing rogues, you know, decks and stuff like that is just so much more fun, in my opinion, even if it's a lot harder to win. And I have done well piling meta decks. I'm glad you think that. I appreciate it. I've done well, you know, locally and stuff in smaller tournaments here and there, but I will play meta decks. It just takes the right meta deck, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's got to really appeal to me. I don't know, whether it be summoning mechanic or combos or certain tech cards it gets to play in the extra deck, side deck, things like that. Ricochet Avalon, I guess, would be a meta deck too. But yeah, that is it for the Q&A video. I think this one is definitely shorter than the last one I did, which is good. That one was like an hour and a half long. This one's like 40 minutes. But thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who left comments. Even if there were some kind of like repeat comments, I don't mind that a lot. But yeah, I appreciate it. Much love to you guys. Thank you. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to drop them down in the comment section below, and I'll try to reply to some of them as they come in. But yeah, thank you for, again, 10 years on YouTube. We will be doing a giveaway as part of the last One Deck 1 Month. Kind of mix both of them together, I guess. Yeah, here's to many more years. I don't know if it'll be another 10 years, but many more years to come here on the Winner Kills channel. A big heartfelt thank you to every single one of you who've been here either since the beginning or last week, whatever it is. Thank you very much for choosing to support me and believe in what I'm doing. Again, through the peaks and through the valleys. I appreciate it, seriously. And you guys will really never know how much I appreciate it. So thank you guys again for all the love and support and for being here. And thank you for allowing me to be here 10 years on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. Excited to see where the future goes and what I'm able to do with this channel in the next couple of years. So thank you guys for watching. As always, Winner Kills signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And last but not least, a big thank you goes to our current Divine level channel members who are Pony Start, Cadillacs, Green, Misfit, HCH Cyber, and Robin's Assistant. Thank you guys so much as always for extremely kind and very generous support of the channel.